obvious. We are gathered this morning on Zoom, which was something that we never imagined when we first learned of Dash's bar mitzvah date. But as we are all living with the reality of the coronavirus, our expectations for this day have changed. And we all take a collective breath together to recognize that even in the small losses of not being in person, that's important to grieve the little losses, the big losses that we've experienced. But I want to say that we would be limiting ourselves if grief is the only thing that we allowed ourselves, and that if we allowed ourselves just to be disappointed, we could all learn from Dash, who has really been someone who has been able to ride every wave really powerfully. Because if we recognize the power of this day and what does it mean to become an adult in this time, we can also say that today is a beautiful day, that we are resilient, that this is a beautiful family and we have much to celebrate. And so by way of celebrating, to invite us to get used to this platform, to Zoom this morning for Shabbat services by giving Dash some energy, by waving our hands, and perhaps you can give him some beginning words of encouragement in the chat. One of the things, I'm a rabbi who, if it's comfortable for you, who really encourages a robust use of the chat, not to be distracting, but really to add supplements to the service. We will be saving the chat, so we'll be sending it to Dash and the family because they won't be able to see everything, but they will be able to read it afterwards. There's a way that you can greet and wish a Shabbat Shalom to one another. If you're listening to Dash's words of Torah or to the parents' words to Dash, you may want to add your own perspective, and that will be able to be one of the additional benefits is that we get to capture that this morning. And so I also want to invite us that, we're so often in spaces where we are primarily looking at the back of people's heads. And this morning, we really get the advantage of seeing your beautiful faces. And so for those of you who are not on camera, just want to let you know it makes a big difference for the family and for people to be able to see each other's smiling faces, for us to be able to join together. And I want to invite us to kind of create that sense of community, that we don't have to feel isolated this morning, and that we can look into the faces, we can tune into the words of the prayer, or we can also just let the melodies hold us this morning. And so let me give you a few more general instructions for participation. So first of all, I want to say, let go of perfectionism. I invite you to adventure with Dash and me this morning. This is a new frontier, and we can explore, we can get lost, and we can discover together. Be gentle with yourselves and with us. We already have had one curveball this morning. We're doing beautifully with that curveball, but I also just want to invite us, if you lose connection, take a breath and then try to sign back in. I want us to invite any way that we can support Dash and his family this morning. For those of you who have a hardcover Reconstructionist prayer book, Kol Hanshama, please feel free to use that. Or we'll be putting a link to the virtual Siddur that we've sent out. Or better yet, just go freestyle and sing along with us. As I said, use the chat function. We may not be able to see what you are saying, but at least you will feel better. We will save the chat for the family to see. And lastly, please sing with us. The good news is that no one can hear you except those next to you. But know that when we see each other singing, it really increases the sense of comfort and our ability to pray together. And so we're going to begin this morning with a nigun. Yai die, yai die, 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 yai die, da, 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 die. Hey, yai die, yai die, 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 yai die, da, 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 die. Yai da 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 yai da 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 yai da 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 yai da 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 yai da da da. We are going to turn to page 141, as Dash and his family lead us in Matovu. God commands Noah to make a window for the ark. The Torah uses the Hebrew word window or tsohar rather than the traditional word chalon. Sohar comes from the root to shine, which is connected to the word Zohar, which is the mystical text in Jewish tradition. We often find it plural, Soharaim, and it's translated as noonday. And so people have come to understand that this Sohar was the light source within the ark. Some rabbis taught that this window was a skylight, but another midrash describes it as a precious stone like a pearl that emitted its own light, that had its own luster, and that its own shine. Being told to place a light emanating stone is very different than creating a window. What is the difference? A window's light comes from outside, while the Sohar stone shines from within. And so there is a teaching that this stone in the portion is to instruct us that we should be like that stone, trusting, cultivating, and emanating our light for others. And I think that's so important on Zoom. That part of what we are trying to do is to convey our inner light to one another as we join together. And I think that anybody who knows Dash well understands that he is somebody who has a bright light that he emanates himself. And as we celebrate Dash this morning and we recognize that bright light, we take this opportunity as he steps into the covenant of Jewish adulthood by presenting him with his talit. And I'd like to invite his mom, Rebecca, to present him with the talit that she has made. And Dash, if you'll come from behind the podium, just so that we can see a little more of you.
Okay, so Dash knows this, but just so people at home, with each child, I have not stoned it myself, but I've designed their talit. And on all of the other children's talit, there's the priestly blessing across the top, and there are words in Hebrew that remind me of them. This was a little difficult in COVID times for me to do for Dash, so we had to get a little creative. Anybody who knows Dash knows that he's a big Manchester United fan. So his talit is Man U colors, and the way I manage the blessings is there's a secret pocket in the bottom. So I have with me a few words that I think embody him, and I will also have the priestly blessing that will go in here. And maybe post-COVID not put it on something that is paper and not washable. But the words that I put are athleticism, because anybody who knows Dash knows he's an animal when it comes to soccer. Compassion, humor, hardworking, friendship, family, laughter, empathy, and love. I'm gonna sneak them into the little pocket. Daddy has some blessings for you that go in the pocket. And I hope you wear it in good health. Yours is a little fat for the pocket.
So for those of us who have not yet put in our talit, we're going to take this moment to stand and say the blessing with Dash as he leads us. And I just also want to say that because we're giving them the chat, if you have a word or a blessing that you want them to write in that secret pocket, please put that in the chat now as we say the Talit blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lihit atef batzitzit.
So, Rabbi, because of the tradition, if you guys could stand closer, Jonah, all four of these talit, all four of these were created and designed by Rebecca. Pretty stunning.
I also had something to do with the people wearing them, but.
Quite beautiful. Y'all can have a seat. One of the ways that we begin our morning is by taking upon ourselves the mitzvah of loving your fellow human being as yourself. And so we hear this chant as we all commit to bringing that sense of kindness and love and care for ourselves and for all those around us. We listen to the Hareini prayer. So we're going to take a moment to connect this morning. I'm going to invite us to unspotlight us so that we can see everybody on the screen. I'm going to invite us just to take a moment to close our eyes. Just connect to our own breath. And then we open our eyes and we begin to look at the screens in front of us. and notice what we see, each one of us in a different chair, a different desk or table. We are all small sanctuaries woven together through technology that we barely understand, and through the shared triumph of having journeyed through these months together. We may feel alone, and yet we know a togetherness different from the togetherness that we knew before. So let us begin with our breath, creating community by connecting with one another in the way that we can. Let us slow down to greet one another's faces and breathe with one another to unite our individual sanctuaries into this virtual one. So one way to enter this space together virtually is to create connection through our breath, and more specifically through matching our breathing to the breathing of another person or a few others on Zoom with us. And so I'm going to invite everyone who's comfortable to hold your hand high enough to be seen on the screen. And as you do that, first do it as a fist. And then as you breathe, each exhale, keep your hand up. Each exhale, you'll open your hand. And each inhale, you'll close. So just try that for a few moments. Inhale, closed. Exhale, open. Inhale, close. Exhale, open. And then I want you to find somebody on Zoom, perhaps another family member or friend, and see if you can begin to match your breathing by looking at their hand and seeing if you match your opening of your hand with the closing. You can repeat this a few times, and then maybe you find another person and begin to look at the screen and open and close as you match your breath as we connect together this morning. Just take a few more seconds to do this in silence. In this way, by breathing together, we bring ourselves into community like an orchestra tuning up first, each musician alone, and then coming together. We join together on page 165 as Dash and I lead Eloheinu Shema. Whenever you're ready, Dash. Lovely. We begin Psuke de Zimra, which invites us to appreciate the beauty of the world and its creation, but it also invites us to look a little bit deeper. When we think of a tree, they often are beautiful, but there is an entire life beneath that tree, a system of roots and soils, and for a tree to sustain and for it to be healthy and exude beauty, those roots must be tended and cared for. And while they remain hidden, they are the key to what we connect with. And so too, our inner lives are just as important to cultivate and to tend, because it is our deep roots, each of us exudes our own unique beauty. We begin on page 177 with Baruch She'amar, led by our lay cantor this morning, Gayan Garin.
Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch She'amar v'haya olam, Baruch She'amar v'haya olam, Baruch She'amar v'haya olam, Baruch She'amar v'haya olam, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo, Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. Emet meretz titzmach. Emet meretz titzmach. Truth rises from the earth. Emet meretz titzmach. Emet meretz titzmach.
Before we move on to the next psalm, I wanted to give Dash an opportunity to share with us a little bit about his mitzvah project. And so, Dash, if you'll do that, and then when you finish, we're going to show a couple pictures to share exactly what you've been doing.
All right. Hello. So, it's been pretty hard finding a good bar mitzvah project that I would enjoy doing until not too long ago. Oh wait, I might have to school a little bit before that. So during quarantine, I started to draw a lot. And some people said they're pretty good. So I decided to make some pet portraits, and all of those funds from them will go to the Defenders of Wildlife, which is like a nonprofit to help the wildlife. So, yes.
Thanks, Dash. We're going to see one of those pet portraits right now. Great job. There's Stanley.
Well, that comes later. That comes later.
That's brother.
Awesome. So, Dash, you're going to lead us on page 215 with Esa Enai.
Okay. Okay.
We continue with our last song on page 231, Kol Hanshama Tahaloya, Hallelujah. It means let every living thing sing God's praise. please join us in singing and thinking about all of creation singing praise. Dash, I just want you to know that your pet portraits were a hit, and several people have asked if you would make one for them. So connect you afterwards. Please join us in singing Kol Hanshama.
Oh, Shema, tell hallelujah, hallelujah. Kohan Shema, tell hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Please rise, either in body or in spirit. She's going to lead us in the Chatzi Kaddish on page 245. And you can lead from there, Dash. That's fine.
Okay. Yikara, Sheme, Raga.
Amen. We continue to stand for the Baruch Hu, which you'll find on page 247. We start on 246 under the line as we begin our Shacharit service with the Baruch Hu. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. And the blessing gives us strength and makes our visions clear. And the blessing gives us peace and the courage to dare as we bless the source of our life. So we are blessed. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. We continue in the middle of the page. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Yotzer Or V'Orei Choshech Osei Shalom V'Orei Et HaKol. Blessed are you, Eternal One, our God, the Sovereign of all worlds, who fashions light and creates darkness, maker of peace and creator of all. Amen. So I would like to invite Dash's aunts, Jen and Pam, to offer us this Yotzer poem, Summer Day by Mary Oliver. Good morning, Shabbat Shalom, welcome.
Thank you. Pam, are you on here? No?
I think she went in.
Hold on, sorry.
Oh, we can't see Jen. Okay. Uh-oh. Maybe Jen, you have to read it.
Yeah, I think so, Jen.
Okay,
Oh, there she is. There's Pam.
okay.
Pam is there now.
I'll read the first part, Pam, and you can read the second part. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass. The one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down. Who is gazing around her with enormous and complicated eyes? Pam?
Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
Amen. We move to Ahava Rabbah, this prayer that speaks of being enwrapped and enfolded in an abundant love. I'd like to invite our lay cantor, Gayan, to offer this chant as we chant along with her.
Ahava Rabbah of Tanu, Ahava Rabbah of Tanu, Ahava Rabbah of Tanu, Ahava Rabbah of Tanu,
With an abounding love, you love us, our nurturer, our God. With great compassion, do you care for us? Our fount, our loving parent, caring one, be merciful with us and place into our hearts the ability to understand, to see, to hear, to learn, to teach, to keep, to do, and to uphold with love all that we study of your Torah. We turn to the page 275 for V'ha'er Einenu. V'ha'er Einenu b'torah. Yahbek libeinu b'mitzvotecha. V'yached lehivaveinu. V'yahava uyira et shemecha. V'lo nehevosh. V'lo nikalem. V'lo nikashel. Li'olam va'ed. V'shem kodshecha. Nagila v'nismecha. Nagila B'shuatecha. We find the Shema on page 277 as Dash leads us with his family.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Elohim, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדונך בכל לבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו האיברים האלה אשר אני מצווה היום על לבך, ושינתם עליך ודיברת בם, ושיתך בביתך ובצאתך בדרך, ושופך במקומך, וקראתם היום נגדך, והיו תותפות בעיניך, וקצתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך.
Yesher Koach. Would like to invite Dash's Aunt Patrice and Uncle Barney to read this prayer, Social Action, by Rabbi Jack Reamer.
Up here. Set, go. Mazel tov dash.
Mazel tov dash.
Very good. Mazel tov dash. We cannot merely pray to you, O God, to end war, for we know you made the world in a way that we must find our own path of peace within ourselves and with our neighbor.
We cannot merely pray to you, O God, to root out prejudice, for you have already given us eyes with which to see the good in all people if we would only use them rightly.
We cannot merely pray to you, O God, to end starvation, for you have already given us the resources with which to feed the entire world if we would only use them wisely.
We cannot merely pray to you, O God, to end despair, for you have already given us the power to clear away slums and to give hope if we would only use our power justly.
We cannot merely pray to you, O God, to end disease, for you have already given us great minds with which to search out cures and healing if we would only use them constructively.
Therefore, we pray instead for strength, determination, and willpower to do instead of just to pray, to become instead of merely to wish, that our world be safe and our lives may be blessed, and we can all be together soon.
Absolutely.
Amen. Yesher Koach. Thank you. Beautiful. So we take a moment to kind of move into some reflection and thinking about this next offering. The Torah portion of Noah reminds us that the world can be fragile, that there is a way where we need to understand how we might be better stewards. And the world can also be awesome and bring a tremendous amount of power, like the flood itself. And that often what we do is to kind of move into a place of creating our own sense of a bridge in the challenging times. So we're going to listen to this next video and invite our own kind of sense of awareness and be inspired by the many youthful activists that we will see who are bringing their skills to make this shattered world more whole.
tears are filling up their glasses. No expression, no expression. Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow. And I find it kinda funny, yes, I find it kinda sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I ever had. I find it hard to tell you, yes, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Children waiting for the day they feel good. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Made to feel the way every child should. Sit and listen, sit and listen. I went to school and I was very nervous. No one knew me, no one knew me. Hello teacher, tell me what's my lesson. Look right through me, look right through me. And I find it kinda funny, yes I find it kinda sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I ever had. I find it hard to tell you, yes I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Mad world, mad world, mad world.
One of the things that I've want to add to this experience in retrospect is that you should know that all of the music that you're hearing is created by our CBH musicians and our chorus. And there are many other musical offerings and videos that have been created by the creativity of our community, as this one was as well. I think that you can find them on our YouTube channel to be inspired and to bring a little bit of Congregation Beit Chaverim back with you if you're joining us from different places. So please check us out on YouTube in that way. And folks who have joined us from YouTube this morning, we want to welcome you as well. And that video specifically, as you will soon learn, connects us to Dash's Devar Torah. That there's a lot about this world that Dash has to offer. And so it's because of videos and the teachings like we just produced that have our children grow up with a particular perspective. And it's because of kids like Dash that we continue to deepen that perspective as well. So we continue with the Amidah, which you will find on page 295. If you would like to rise, please do so. Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Open my lips, beloved one, and let my mouth declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tohovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chatzei Avot V'imochot, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחכה כל חי ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות כל חי, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי כל חי. We find the Kedusha on page 303. מקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום. ככתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה אל זה ויאמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות מלוא כל הארץ כהבודו. אז בכל רעש גדול, אדיר וגזק משמיעים, כל מתן סין לנתן שרפים, ומתן ברוך יאמרו. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו, מקומך מלכנו תופיע, ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך, מתי תמלוך בציון, בקרוב בימינו לעולם ועד תשכון. תתקדש ותתקדש, בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור לנצח נצחים, והננו תירנה מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור הללויה, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גדלך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גדלך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך, קדושתך נקדיש. שמך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. הקדוש הקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. We continue silently to the bottom of page 323. When you're finished, please feel free to be seated. Hosei shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'yako Yisrael, v'imru, imru, amen. Yahaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'yako Yisrael. Yahaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'yako Yisrael. Yaseh shalom aleinu v'yako Yisrael. Yaseh shalom aleinu v'yako Yisrael. So friends, we move into our Torah service. Dash is going to go and stand by the Torah, as he leads us in Vayehi bin Soharon on page 385. Please rise for Vayehi bin Soharon. David, if you would hand the Torah to And Rebecca, if you'll grab a prayer book and turn to page 393. Dash, if you'll hold the Torah. And Dash, your mom is going to hold the prayer book for you as you lead us in this call and response. David, you repeat that. Gadlu ladana haiti unerom mima shehemo yachdav. Dash, if you want to take it around to your siblings, and then you can undress the Torah.
Take it away, family. Keep going, family. Okay, I'm going to finish it up while we get the Torah up on the Torah stand. Here we go. Torah, 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 Torah. Tiva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah. Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah tziva lanu Moshe. All right, back to the Dashin family and Torah. I'll do one more little song while we get Rabbi Josh back in the square here. Hine ma tov manayim שבת אחים יחד, הנה מה טוב ובנאי, שבת אחים גם יחד.
It's amazing how I can be in two squares at once. Friends, I'm going to be the Gabbai Rishon, and Dash's awesome trope tutor Elise Cohen is going to be the Gabbai Sheni. Shabbat Shalom. Good to see you, Elise. Good to see you, Dan. I want to tell you a little bit about this Torah portion. Not only is this Torah portion contain the story of Noah, but actually what Dash will be reading from will be about the Tower of Babel. And so the Tower of Babel has a lot of modern references and implications. Commentary named Michael Schindler wrote that the Tower of Babel is one of those mythological narratives that, in the words of the 4th century philosopher Celestius, it's something that never happened, but always does. Humanity, in our arrogance, always strives against our own nature and circumstances to bring together different nations of the world to establish an order that often is based on greed and always ends up failing. And so just as Nimrod's tower fell, so did Alexander's and Cyrus's and Attila's and Napoleon's. This kind of geopolitical project, especially when buttressed by the most kind of greed-oriented or exploitive reasons, but even sometimes when attempted by the best reasons and notable goals, often does not succeed. And it's in part because we don't take the time to really deeply understand one another's language and everything that comes along with it. And so that perhaps it's not that enterprise is tried, it's that it's not given the same kind of commitment to understanding one's language and one's difference. There's an opportunity for us to kind of repair that and find a way to deeply appreciate and understand the languages of others. So this morning, we're going to have 3 aliyot. Dash is going to read from the section of Parshat Noah, the very third part of it, the final piece, which, as I said, it encapsulates the Tower of Babel. The first aliyah is going to be done by his grandparents, and so you're on deck, and then his parents and siblings, and then the third will be for Dash. So we're going to take a moment. Let's give Dash some energy as we celebrate his Torah reading. Dash, if you can give me a thumbs up that you know where you are in the Torah. You got your place? Got it. Wonderful. And so I'm going to call up your grandparents for the first aliyah. Ya'amdu Natan ben Natan v'Leah and Chaya v'Chaya Rochel bat Ancho v'bat Shir l'aliyah harishona Baruch shenatan Torah le'amo Yisrael biktu shato. And grandparents, you're going to have to unmute yourselves for the first aliyah. We have Carol and Nathan for this first aliyah. Mazel tov. Yes.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamavara.
Baruch Adonai Varach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavara Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atoi Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bocha Bonu Mikol Ha'ani V'Natalanu Et Torato Baruch Atoi Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Great. We finish the Aliyah with the closing blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher nata lanu Torah emet, v'hiyah olam natab Netanyahu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Yesher koach. Many blessings. Mazel tov to both of you. And so we have the second Aliyah. Want to call up all of Dash's siblings and his parents. Ya'amdu Rivka bat Natan ve'Chana Rochu ve'David ben Melech ve'Dina ve'Dodi Bracha bat Rivka ve'David ve'Natan Melech ben Rivka ve'David ve'Ariela bat Shir bat Rivka ve'David ve'Osher Yitzchak ben ve'Yona ben Rivka ve'David l'Aliyah Harishona Hashenit, Baruch Shenatan Torah Limo Yisrael Bikdushato.
Oops, we didn't do that right. Can we try again?
Yes, you can do it again. Baruch Adonai Varach Le'elam Va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher barach banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayomer Adonai.
Yesher koach. Now, Dash, you're going to take your seat and mark where your next Aliyah starts, and this Aliyah blessing is for you upon the celebratory occasion of becoming a bar mitzvah. Ya'amod.
We're gonna do the after. Do you want to see the after?
Oh, yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. Okay. Ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'hayeh olam natan b'toveinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Try that again. And so, Dash, if you'll take your seat and mark where your third Aliyah blessing is, I'm going to call you up for your bar mitzvah Aliyah. Ya'amod Osher Yitzchak ben Rivka v'David l'Aliyah bar hamitzvah. Baruch Shenatan Torah Limo Yisrael Bikdushato. If you'll start with the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Torah.
Amen.
Hava nirga laksham satam asher lo yishme'u ish bat ve'ed bet Adonai otam nisham alpaneh aretz
Sayakalu.
Vasalu no etat Ken Kalak Shema Mavel Kisham Love Adonai Sefa Goma Arts Misham Habitam Adonai Amen Goma Arts.
Yesher Koach.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah bemet v'chayei olam natan b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Torah.
Amen. Not yet. It'll happen soon. And Rebecca and David and Dash, if you'll close up the Torah while we do the following special Misha Berach blessings. We have 3 this morning. The first one is for healing. I want to invite people to put names in the chat for those that you are praying a refuah shlema. Going to also put the prayer in the chat for people to join with me. Misha Berach Avotenu. Sorry, I'll wait for you to put names in, and then we'll do this, and then we'll put the prayer as well. Misheberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Imotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. And so while we bring Dash back onto the center of the screen by spotlighting him, wanted to invite his Torah trope tutor and Devar Torah tutor, Elise, to offer him this special Misha Berach blessing.
May you live to see your world fulfilled. May you be our link to future worlds. And may your hope encompass all the generations yet to be. May your heart conceive with understanding. May your mouth speak wisdom. And your tongue be stirred with sounds of joy. May your gaze be straight and sure. Your eyes be lit with Torah's lamp. Your face aglow with heaven's radiance. Your lips expressing words of knowledge. And your inner self alive with righteousness. And may you always rush in eagerness to hear the words of one more ancient than all time. Mazal tov.
Amen. So we also recognize that this is a life cycle, not just for Dash, but also for his parents. And so I'd like to ask if Rebecca and David, if you will stand together behind the table and gather your children around you.
I know we have extras, but we're short on in this month, and there's awkward timing for her to get. Here, let me. It's not season.
There's two sisters.
It wouldn't be as if we were all together, we were as, there you go. Okay.
Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov V'imotenu Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yivarech. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel, bless Rebecca and David, parents of Dash. May they be guided when to pull their son close and when to let him go. May they find the way to honor him for the child that he still is and the man that he is becoming. Grant them joy to celebrate all of his successes and guide them to support him when he is challenged. Grant David and Rebecca, along with Dash, Grace and Jonah and Addie, for a length of days so that they may rejoice together in happiness and in peace. And let us all say, Amen. So I want to offer these final words to all of you. Yivarechecha Adonai, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, kein yehi ratzon, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'kuneka, kein yehi ratzon, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom, kein yehi ratzon. May God bless you and protect you. May God's face shine upon you and show you favor. And may God's face turn towards you and bring you peace. Kein yehi ratzon. Addie, you can't leave just yet because we're about to dress the Torah as well. So I'm going to invite our Torah lifter, Jonah, and our Torah dressers, Grace and Addie, to be prepared. If the Torah cover is on the chair where Jonah will be sitting, you probably want to remove it for a moment. Jonah, you want to get a little bit of leverage with the Torah?
Right.
So when the Torah is lifted, for those who would like to stand, please do so. We'll sing on page 407, V'zot Torah, as the Torah is lifted. V'zot Torah, asher Moshe, lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai, v'yad Moshe. You can be seated. Matovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad, hine matovu manayim, shevet achiot gam yachad, hine matov, hine matov. You want to put on the belt first before the covering, and then you want to make sure that the scroll is rolled up tight. Hine matov, hine mahatov, yada da yada da 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 da. Hine matov manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov manayim, shevet achiot gam yachad. So Dash, while the Torah is still being dressed, you will get your Devar Torah. So when the Torah is dressed, if you'll put it back on the table.
Wait, get a towel stand?
You can wrap the talus around it if you would like. And so, while the Torah is being wrapped, I'm going to invite us to give our attention to Dash in this moment. Dash, whenever you're ready, we're ready to receive your wisdom.
Alright, let's do it. Before I start, I'd just like to thank some people came along and supported me throughout this process of preparing me for my bar mitzvah. I've been here at this congregation for a long time, and I would like to thank them for everything they do. Thank you to my mom and my dad for always being with me. I would not be where I am today without you, physically and literally and figuratively. I would also like to thank my siblings, Grace, Addie, and Jonah, for tolerating my annoying behavior and for hanging out with me, being siblings. More thank yous to my grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins who've been awesome, some of whom who live near me and others who we may live far away. I'm very grateful for the time we've spent together. Thank you to Elise for getting me through this bar mitzvah. I would have embarrassed myself without you. Thank you, Rabbi Josh and Dee, for helping me put this whole thing together. I know it's all new, but I'm very grateful for your help in making this wonderful service. I'd also like to have a quick thank you to my friends and not like to exclude my dogs for all the time we spent together. And finally, I'd like to thank everyone on this call for being here and making me really happy that even with this horrible virus, we still find ways to all be together.
Rabbi Josh,
Yes.
I'm getting a word that people can't hear him. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you guys hear him?
Yeah, I was about to jump in. In part, it's a very echoey room, and so
Still.
Dash needs to speak much more slowly.
All right, will do. You want me to restart?
Should he redo that or keep going?
You should keep going, and Dash, I'm going to suggest you also move a little bit closer to the iPad. And you may even
How
want
about I can move the iPad closer to him?
Yeah.
either that or he doesn't need to use the podium either way. That would be great.
Okay, and speak slowly and clearly. A lot of people got up very early to join us.
Shabbat Shalom. The Torah portion this week, Parashat Noah, starts off by explaining how God tells Noah of God's plan to destroy the earth and all human beings because of the corruptness of the world. Noah's emotions are never discussed in this portion, so we only read about how he builds this massive ark with strict instructions from God while the clock ticks on to the inevitable end of the world. What we see in this portion is hard to grasp, that the whole world, the one thing humans rely on, not to mention created by God, could be seen as something so insignificant to God at the same time. This is something that still happens today in human terms. With today's pandemic, many act as if they are untouchable, while others are experiencing it on a much more severe level. Like God, some people see this as so insignificant, while for others it's destroying lives. I'm baffled that Noah seems unconcerned about the rest of humanity. The only thing that is clear about Noah is his willingness to obey. Noah chooses the easy way out by failing to advocate for the rest of the world. When God tells Noah that the world is filled with lawlessness and that the plan is to blot out existence except for Noah, his offspring, and animals, Noah must have been scared. Imagine being told that someone has the power to destroy the world, but your family will be the sole survivors. Noah is the foundation of God's plan. Without Noah, there is no ark. There are no humans and no animals that survive. So, when Noah obeys without argument or pleading, it says a lot about Noah's character and his loyalty to God. God and Noah both surprise me. God is closed-minded to progress and the possibility of change, and Noah obeys God's command without asking any questions or speaking up for humanity. There are two ways to think about Noah. The first is that he takes the easy way out, instead of confronting what is difficult. You can be scared, yet still confront what is bad or unethical. It's easier for Noah to obey God than to figure out how to tell God that he won't participate in his plan and face the consequences of saying so. Just like today, we can see the challenges that face our world, yet many deny the truth so they can stay in their paradise of perfect, or at least pretend to think that the world is a place where nothing bad is happening, if it doesn't feel like it's directly affecting them. Our daily lives rely on fossil fuels. Overflowing landfills, rising sea levels, and horrid natural disasters, all affected from an overheated capitalism that doesn't put into perspective the effect of our actions. Businesses will look for the perfect opportunity to make money instead of thinking of how it affects the environment. Like Noah, these are examples of easy ways out. Instead of confronting yourself and these problems that face us as humans. The second way to think of Noah is by examining his loyalty to God. Noah's loyalty led him to blindly follow God's plan, help God execute the plan, even at the expense of every other living being on earth. Like today, thoughtless loyalty to power is bad for the state of the world. In times like these, we have to think about common sense and the importance of self-reflection. Maybe if Noah looked at his situation and reflected on it, we would be talking about a whole different story. We can look at Noah's loyalty as a bad action, making a poor choice or choosing to behave in a passive way. Noah went along with God, rather than trying to persuade God to not destroy everyone and everything. If Noah had reflected, he could have made a better choice. He could have advocated or argued. Relating this to our daily lives, Noah shows us the negative effect of unquestionably following or being loyal as examples of what not to do, instead of confronting problems. The supposed comfort of this kind of loyalty to people and ideas is not as good as it seems, especially when the consequences are deadly. So if we replace our world with the world in Parshat Noah, is it still corrupt like God describes? The sad truth is yes. Yes, our world is corrupt, a world becoming a mockery of where we should aspire to be. In the battle for racial equality, we can now fully see the horrible deaths with our own eyes. It's completely different than reading or hearing it in the news. However, some people still support a man who refuses to condemn white supremacy. People, especially white people, must look past their privilege and comfort to confront the problems that face the whole world. They might agree that something needs to change, but it doesn't matter if they don't act upon it to change it. We must look past our own comfort and privilege to confront the problems that face the whole world. For anyone to deny climate change or white supremacy is stupid. Dismissing these things does not make it less true. Sure, like Noah, the comfort of not doing anything is tempting when you either feel like your actions don't really matter or you don't feel like you will be affected. People need to step outside their comfort zone and actually take action, search for truths, and know the difference between the lies and the facts so we can all deal with the problems that we all face today. Noah teaches us we need to be more accountable for both our actions and inactions. We know the incarceration rate of Black people is absurdly high, yet often white people do things dramatically worse, and the charges are much less. It pains me to know that people who do horrible things in the world are out enjoying their lives, while people like Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and Jacob Blake are dying or being gunned down. I've been talking a lot about Noah, but I want to talk about God for a minute. If this is the portrayal of God, then it surely is not something any of us could ever accept. Why do we think so highly of a God that would destroy almost all of humanity and life on earth? After the ark withstands the flood, God tells Noah this would never happen again. Why? Maybe because God knew it was wrong in the first place. So don't get me wrong, I love the rainbows in the story, but both the destruction and the promise to never do it again seems quite bizarre. Noah and God are both to blame for what I see it as a tragedy. Maybe I see it as a tragedy because of the existential threat of climate change and abounding violence that greatly affects my generation. Yet, real lessons arise from this story to guide us in the right direction. It can help us open our eyes to the real world and stop the bleeding of the earth. We cannot wait for Noah's dove to give us the all clear. We need to get our own dove and guide in the right direction. Responsibility must be taken each and every day in big and small ways for our actions. We must start to take more accountability for justice, rather than being the bystanders to pain and suffering. There is no time to wait. The time is now. The problems we don't solve today are going to be the darkest issues of the next generation. I want to quote Greta Thunberg. She said, "I want you to panic to world leaders at the Davos Economic Forum. So we can either get to work today or keep it off for the endless tomorrows." And I think the answer is clear. Shabbat Shalom. Woo!
I think. That was a pretty solid hit.
Yes, that was a pretty solid hit. Is that all the candy that's coming?
Well, we can take it out and pitch it in. I think that was the intention. 1 second.
Yeah.
Why?
Don't throw it, don't be there by
So just know that since we're in the synagogue, y'all will have to clean that up.
Okay, I'll just keep them. And you're just eating them instead of throwing them out?
So Dash, Yesher Koach, thank you for your beautiful words of Torah. There are a number of people who would like to offer you some blessing and reflection. The first is Michelle Walsh, representative of our community school, will offer some words on behalf of our community, and your parents will offer you a gift we typically give as a community. And Dash, if you'll stand behind your podium because we can't see you.
Oh, sorry about that.
No worries.
Hi, everyone. As Rabbi Josh said, I'm Michelle Walsh. I am representing the CBH Community School where Dash has gone for a number of years with my daughter Stella. They've been in the same class. So Dash, Yesher Koach. I will never hear the Noah story again the same. So wonderful, Devar. So as the community school, we are presenting you with your very own Tanakh, which is the Torah and other important Jewish texts. And thank you. There you go. And we just wish you well on your Jewish journey. And we hope that this is not the end, but really the beginning of your Jewish journey as an adult now. So Mazel Tov and Yesher Koach.
So Dash, I'm going to invite your parents to come up, and as they do, to share some words with you. Just want to let you know, so many people are saying how inspiring your words of Torah have been, how you've helped them understand this Torah portion in new ways. And so, Yesher Koach, what a beautiful job.
Thank you.
Am I up? Yeah. Okay. I hope people can hear me because I need to start by saying that in what's been just a ridiculously, insanely bad year for almost all of us, I had no idea how moving it would be to have a Zoom bar mitzvah. Maybe you saw me getting up and wiping the screen because it's so moving to see so many people joining us. My friends from California who are up at an ungodly hour to join us makes me want to cry. I think I saw, I'm going to screw up the last name, but Adam and your new baby or wife all the way from Switzerland. It's just amazing. So I just want to thank everybody because it makes us all the more special. Dash, hello. That was amazing. If I do say so myself. It's very surreal to be here at your bar mitzvah today. And it's really hard to believe you're a teenager. but it's so easy to believe in the person you are and the person you continue to become. I have to start by saying one of the most extraordinary things about you guys, all of my children, is that you actually like each other. And I mean, like, you really like each other. And I adore my sisters, but we were not close like you guys are when we were growing up. And you guys are a traveling party, you're a package set, and you are your own tribe. And I say this now to you, because you are the baby of the family, and you're not a baby anymore, but you complete our tribe in a way that I don't think any of us could have imagined you would. And I also say this because while it's your day, those other 3 people in your life have made a profound influence on who you are as you have on them. So who is the person that you are? You're an incredible athlete, and not just because you're gifted athletically. You're unbelievably focused and dedicated and passionate. You make your own workouts and go practice daily by yourself because you're not participating because you don't think it's safe during COVID. And while your father and I probably think that's would endorse that, that's all coming from you. You always, when you are on the field, give 110%. And that's not just on the soccer field. At school, when we talk to your teachers and they asked you to think about what you could do better, you gave them a very long list. And when they asked the teachers what they thought you could do better, they said maybe sometimes you don't have to do 110%, you could just give 100%, which is an amazing thing about it. You have a very strong sense of right and wrong, and you're committed to doing the right. You do the research, you advocate for what you believe in. I don't think I've seen many people during COVID who have been as careful and protective. And I know it's not just because of you, but it's because you don't want to get other people sick. And I know it's meant missing out on family and friends and the thing you love most, which is soccer. And I know it's not been easy, and I have a great deal of admiration for you. I could go on and on, but I'm just gonna say this. A lot of people know that when Dash was born, I taught him, my children are saying, don't say it. When he was born, I taught him that his name meant he who loves his mother above all else. It doesn't have a meaning, Dashel, so I thought that was a good one. I think it really should be changed to he who loves above all else, because your love for us is beautiful and meaningful, and you're not afraid to show it. One of the best moments for me of late, and it also shows a sense of humor, was I was on a flight just before COVID, headed to Budapest, and he was texting me as the plane took off, and he said, I love you. And I said, I love you more, and he replied, fake news. So my blessing, if I could offer it, would be for you to keep on keeping on, to keep on discovering who you are and being true to yourself, to be curious and explore all of your curiosities, to love and be loved and then love some more. You are already a blessing to all of us that know you and love you. And I just can't wait to watch you grow and to watch you make the world a better place and to continue to be blessed by you.
Yesher koach.
Rebecca, that was beautiful. One of the great pleasures of parenting Dash and his siblings is that they together are both so strong-minded, but also so agreeably disagreeing, and that they are a joy to engage with. Dash is strong-willed. He takes a stand firmly and clearly, as Rebecca just said. And one of my favorite Dash stories is from earlier this year, when families around the country were gathering at the breakfast table to sort out difficult decisions about COVID and school attendance. And where they had the option, as we did, it was a very complex process and dialogue for most families, not ours. Dash simply and calmly announced what he was doing and why. He didn't ask for permission, he proclaimed it. And I was, as a father, taken aback, but so proud of his clarity and intensity that all I could do was say bravo to you. But when, Dash, you take the kind of stand that you took this morning, I do feel called to respond. I'd be remiss if I did not show you the respect, the lovingly react, if not disagree with some of what you beautifully laid out. But before I do, I want to share one of my favorite pictures. It was taken during Occupy Wall Street. You can see this image on the screen. I don't know if you can, but it was one of Rebecca's most creative images. She was the choreographer of it, as she often is. And you can see the four kids. Dash is on the lower right. Can you see it? And his says, occupy the moment. Seize the moment. And I've been reflecting on that as I've been reflecting on your Josh. And in today's world, the way I take that message, Dash, is I'm ready. I'm present. I'm here. I'm in it. And dozens of times in the Hebrew Bible, the word that summons us to seize the moment does arise. Where are you, Abraham? Asks God. Where are you, Father? Asks Isaac. It happens throughout the Torah, and the response is, Hineni. Here I am, in the moment. I'm showing up. In my life, I am fully present. Hineni. Now, Hineni means a lot more than saying here at Ridgeview Charter School when they take attendance. Hineni is a statement of emotional and spiritual presence. Hineni is, I am ready. I am prepared. And Dash, you argue that we are called to have the courage to say Hineni in this moment, no matter, like Noah, how afraid you might be. And you're right. But you're also right, we don't know much about Noah. But we do know that Noah's Hineni is very different from Abraham's Hineni, or Moses' Hineni, or even Jacob's Hineni wrestling with God. We're taught that in Noah's moment, the people of his community were not righteous. It was a corrupt nation he rose out of. But Dash, we were never told what kind of corruption it was. And there is a midrash that suggests that the corruption was not financial, it was not political, it was not sexual. The midrash says that the corruption of Noah's time was the decadence of apathy and the disease of cynicism. Cynicism and apathy, checking out, not getting involved. But they did. They checked out, they turned away, they did not answer the call, they did not seize the moment, they did not say the name. That was the corruption, one might say, of Noah's time. And my teacher, Sharon Browse, there, Primer, and Felicia Saul remind us of that, and the Pirkei Avot teaches us that when there are no righteous people around, the hardest thing to do is to struggle. We must struggle to speak out. When the easier path is to blend in with a group, when showing up is hard, Dash your Drosh is calling on us to refocus on the story of Noah and on the struggle each one of us encounters, and to ask ourselves the following three questions. How do we maintain the struggle to reach for righteousness when the easier path lies before us? How do we bear the burden of setting ourselves apart when it triggers fear and loneliness? And how will we inspire one another to overcome the obstacles of cynicism and apathy? Well, what is true for Noah is true for each one of us. This hard work means we need a fierce and enduring commitment to remain uncertain and uncomfortable, even scared. Now, as you occupy the moment and find within you the capacity for the hard work of remaining moments, Then the question for you arises, for what? For what are you here and ready in this moment, Dash? For what is your Hineni moment, Dash? And I think it is not like Noah. I think it is much more like Abraham. Radical responsibility. Radical responsibility. Because like Noah, Abraham had moments with God testing his obedience, but when God tells Abraham that Sodom and Gomorrah will be annihilated, as the world was when Noah failed to stand up, Abraham bargains, he negotiates, he advocates. You know the story. Abraham showed up. He seized the moment, he pushed back, and God responded. Now it's clear from the rabbis this was not a comfortable moment for Abraham, but it was radical. You are pushing all of us to get out of our comfort zones and take a risk to move beyond what is safe for us. Now, it's the work no one wants to do, frankly, but it's the work that is required if we hope to see the change that we seek. But there is an alternative. It's the more subtle corruption to apathy and cynicism. It's blame. It's pointing the finger at others. But when we blame, blaming others only fuels our outrage. It only reinforces our sense of helplessness. It does not build our own power to respond. So the wisdom of our tradition truly teaches us, Dash, and this is perhaps where I might disagree with you some, and the recording of our own history tells us that real change is possible. It may not look like it, but it is. In my lifetime, while the arc may move slowly, voting rights have improved, civil rights have been expanded, the mentally ill have seen advances in their care, the rights of the disabled have improved, we've seen progress in the workplace and actually in the environment, and the rights of those in love has expanded to marriage equality, and much more. So the ancient Jewish promise allows us to reimagine. In fact, the most audacious thing that we can do when things are so bleak is to turn our eyes to the future. By casting our gaze to the future from within the depths of darkness is an audacious act of hope. Dash, when is the darkest hour of the night? Just before the dawn. And so you're right, at the end of your drush, we are faced with the fact that tomorrow is today. And Martin Luther King taught us we're now confronted with the fierce urgency of now. The alternative is not acceptable, he says. Shall we say the odds are too great? Shall we tell them the struggle is too hard? Will our message be that the forces of life are too difficult? That we send our deepest regrets? Or will there be another message of longing, hope, and of humanity? So I pray for you on this Shabbat, Noah, Dash, that though we live in a time of unprecedented corruption, of apathy and cynicism and blame, that you truly do rise to the moment and say, Hineni, I am here, I am ready, yes we can. And that we all can become, in our own way, ark builders. There is never a point of no return. If Noah sustained the world through the ark building project, so might we. And so I'll leave the last word to our friend John Lewis. He had a clue. He said, get into the fray. Get into trouble. Good trouble. Necessary trouble. Dash, you are beautiful and resilient and stronger than you know. Know that I respect you, that I'm proud of you, that I love you, that I urge you to continue to answer the highest calling of your heart and stand up continuously for what you believe. And know that I am with you, that we all are with you, each one of us, and that you carry with you in the talit and in your heart our blessing. May Hineni always be on your lips. May you be brave. May you be safe. May you stay healthy. And may you be blessed.
Friends, we're going to turn to page 441 for Eitz Chaim He. Dash, I'm going to save my words for you in a little bit. I want to invite you to kind of take a little bit of time of what your parents have said, and I'll share my reflections with you shortly. Please join me in singing Eitz Chaim He. Eitz Chaim He, lama chazikim la, v'tom cheha mehushar, deracheha darchei noam, v'kol nativoteha shalom, hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva chadesh chadesh yameinu chadesh yameinu yekedem. We find the Aleinu on page 445. For those who would like to rise, please do so in body or in spirit. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liyotzeh, shenatan lanu Torah hatemet, v'chayei olam nata betochenu, v'anachnu kohorim, v'mishtachavim, V'nehemar v'haya So we find the prayer for the end of hiding. You'll find the words in the chat, and Dash, your Aunt Nancy and Uncle Miles recorded this for you. You may be seated.
3. A prayer for the end of hiding. As LGBTQ Jews, we're aware of the loss of integrity we suffer due to the pressures of the larger society. We often feel forced into a dishonest presentation of ourselves to ourselves and others.
The LGBTQ individuals who feel they must pretend to be something they are not. The Jews who feel they must be alienated from their tradition and community to win larger acceptance. Both are victims of a theft of identity and integrity committed by the sexual, gender-identifying, or religious majority.
Creator of the universe, we ask that our hiding come to an end, that we no longer feel that we have to pretend, to promise falsely, to renounce ourselves.
And that our fullest creative expression as Jews and as lesbian, gay, transgender, bisexual, and queer people be among the blessings
you bestow upon us.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. It was lovely to see your aunt and uncle. And for folks who may be hearing that prayer for the first time, it's been an important prayer in our community for many reasons. We were founded almost 30 years and change ago by gay and lesbian folks who could not find a welcoming community. And over all of these years, we have evolved and changed in many different ways, but many of those core values, particularly the core value of being authentic, feels incredibly important. And so, Dash, I just want to say a few words to you right now. bringing that kind of sensibility in. One of the most common traits of this Torah portion, the symbols of this Torah portion, is the rainbow. And really, the rainbow in Noah's time was a covenant that God made with all of humanity. And in many ways, our community has offered that same kind of covenant of recognizing the necessity of all humanity needing to be recognized and celebrated. And so, Dash, I just want to convey to you how incredible it is to see you so self-expressed, dancing today, uninhibited in a lot of ways, letting, as I was saying earlier today, your inner light shine. Sometimes the youngest child, particularly of a clan, such as the clan that family is, can be spoiled or can be doted on in terms of a baby. And I see Addie shaking her head. There may be aspects of that I don't know. But what I want to say about you, Dash, is that you are somebody who often recognizes that the world is on your shoulders, that there's a lot of responsibility that you have. And in fact, and what I heard your mom say to you, not only the way that you love your family, but sometimes the way that you carry their worries and their concerns, I want to say is something more than you actually need to do at times. You have a very strong and resilient family. And I want to let you know that in the prayer that I said to your parents, which was to recognize the boy that you still are and the man that you're becoming, that the boy who you still are is really vibrant and exciting and creative and energetic. It is what was able to capture those pet portraits, and that, almost the kind of dynamism and the energy of the pet came through your brush. And so I want you to know that, while you tapped into the sense of responsibility of Noah, and I always want young Jews to feel the responsibility for what part of healing they can bring into the world. I want to let you know that the Talmud also says you do not have to solve it all. It doesn't have to rest on all of your shoulders. And that sense of play and that spark can be allowed to shine through, that you don't need to carry it all or feel so responsible for everything. And so alongside that mind that can pull together many important insights, I really want to invite that even in the midst of a pandemic, for you to continue the ways to find that sense of play. And whenever I ask you how you're doing, you often find the way to say that you're fine. And I want to let you know that it will be okay not to be fine some days, and that you are wrapped with the love and the care, not just of your family, but of so many others who can support you as well as you seek and strive to support others. I'm incredibly proud of you. I'm incredibly proud of how you have embraced this moment and you have said, yes, despite a pandemic, let's move forward, and I will find the way that I need to be able to celebrate and make meaning. And you have indeed done that. Mazel tov. I am proud of you. So Yesher Koach.
I just got candy.
So we're almost at the end of our service. I just want to invite us to conclude with Mourner's Kaddish and then with Adon Olam. You'll find Mourner's Kaddish on page 451. And if there's anybody who is observing a yortzeit or who is in a period of ritual mourning, please feel free to add the names of your loved ones into the chat so that we know who we are saying this prayer for as we honor their memory. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. Yitkadal v'yitkadash me rabbah, be'alma divra chirute v'amlich malchute, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'gala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehesh me rabba mevorach le'olam omei almaya, yiparach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudsha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehesh lama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen. And so I'm going to invite the Hirsch family to sing us out with Adon Olam on page 459.
Okay, bear with me and say to wait, Adon Olam, Hashem Olam, Hashem Olam, Hashem Olam, Tira, Nasa, Neseko, Azana, Shalom, Adon
So, Dash, I just want us to conclude with Siman Tov Mazel Tov. So I want to invite people to join me. Siman Tov Mazel Tov Mazel Tov Siman Tov Siman Tov Mazel Tov Mazel Tov Siman Tov Siman Tov Mazel Tov Mazel Tov Siman Tov Yehelanu Yehelanu Israel Yehelanu Ulecho Yisrael Yehelanu Lecho Yisrael Yehelanu Lecho Yisrael Mazel Tov. So I want to welcome everyone who came and joined us for Shabbat morning services at Congregation Beit Chaverim. And once again, a Mazel Tov to the Metzger Hirsch family. Dash, Yesher Koach, we're very proud of you. And we're going to stay on for a little bit. If people want to offer their individual Mazel Tovs, we'll probably stay on 5-10 more minutes. You can unmute yourselves. You can greet each other. And we'll wish each other a good Shabbos.
Look at the chat. Yeah.
Unmuted.
Thank you all for coming.
Congratulations, Dash. Hooray for you.
We love you.
We love you guys. Thank you.
Mazel Tov, Rebecca and the family. Dash.
Mazel Tov. Thank you for coming, Shelley.
So proud of you.
Mazel Tov. Dash.
Thank you guys. Cantor, it's wonderful to see you.